Mad
There,
Max. Yeah,
there we
I
go.
am, baby. Yeah, I am, baby.
uh, IronE
Yeah.
Singleton, welcome to the show. Sports Hip Hop with DJ Mad Max, Live 365, iHeartRadio, Mad Max Radio. One of the best in Atlanta for sure. Atlanta native, IronE Singleton, The Walking Dead, The Blind Side, Blindsided by The Walking Dead, your book, one man show, Somebody's. Woof.
Somebody's.
Yeah.
Shout out
Sworn to
to,
secrecy,
yeah.
lottery
Shout
ticket.
out to, yeah, man. You took me way back. Shout out to my man, my colleague, friend, peer, and college mate Haji, the producer of Somebody's, along with Nate Cohn. That took me all the way back, like 20 years, brother.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeking justice.
Seeking justice. Yes. Now, sworn to secrecy turned in, that was with Neve Campbell, and that turned into something else. Amish, it turned into Amish murder.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
turned into. Oh
That
man,
was
you did
big.
your homework.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Iron. How's everything going?
I appreciate it. Things are going great. And since you've done your homework like that, I'm gonna have to shout out your Knicks. Go Knicks.
Oh yeah. Well, you're a Hawks guy. Are you? Because you used to do some mascot work for them.
What? Yes. Yes, indeed, man. I was like, we were called the wing team.
Hmm.
And it was I was the mascot for the Atlanta Braves. I was an MC for the Atlanta Hawks. So we go around getting the crowd hype and all that stuff, man. So I just love sports, and having a background in sports myself, having, been on the swim team and football, baseball, basketball in college, and in high school, and college football. I love sports. Sports is the greatest, sports serve as the greatest metaphor for life to me.
Absolutely. And we're going to get
Yeah.
into the football too. We're going to get into the early life here, being in Atlanta. Definitely a rough story. I learned about your mother's passing and just everything that you've been through, especially your brother and then him being in jail and things like that. It was definitely a touching story and a true inspiration that you were able to push yourself. And I think, was it that the bounty program that really inspired you to follow your passion for acting?
The bounty program was the start of it all. Shout out to my aunt, Mary Huff, aka Tina, for putting me and my cousin into that program one summer when I was 11 years old, where I was first exposed to Shakespeare. And I did Shakespeare, and I was in this program with a bunch of kids from affluent backgrounds. And that is where I realized, like, hey, I'm pretty good at this and I can compete with anybody. So it definitely gave me a lot of confidence.
Hmm. For sure. Yeah, and then all the way up into college, you take on theater. So where was kind of like the crossroads to when you took the leap to really major into speech and theater? Because you were playing football, as we referenced earlier, with University of Georgia. This was always your dream. Was it because of like Champ Bailey coming in? I did read that online that Champ Bailey came in. You had to switch positions to be a running back from a defensive back.
And I didn't have to switch. I chose to switch. I
Chose
was
the
like,
switch.
this dude and this class, they are phenomenal. And so I switched from DB to running back.
Hmm.
Exactly. And so I ended up playing behind Robert Edwards and Olandis Gary, who played for the Broncos. Shout out to those fellows. The crossroads, man. I'm like, was there a crossroads, or was there just one long path of just one long journey, brother Mad Max? High school. Shout out to my English teacher, Miss Warrior, who wanted me to speak. My first time speaking publicly was in front of the student body, along with the staff, the administrators at my high school. And I was a ninth grader, and I was speaking to all of these high school seniors. And I did a poem by William Ernest Henley entitled Invictus.
Hmm.
Out to the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I'll jump to the end. I think whatever gods may be for my uncomfortable soul, and say, I am the I am the master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul. I'm sure you've probably heard that many times, right?
Yes. Hmm.
And that was the very first poem that I did publicly in front of an audience. The bounty program, we just did that amongst ourselves, the students, like the 15 students that were in the class. But this was before the entire school. And that started me. And then she kept coming back to me for whatever reason, project kid like myself, but she saw something in me, brother.
Hmm.
And she said, I want you to speak here. I want you to speak there. I want you to speak here. And so even in high school, I knew I wanted to act, to perform. And then in my high school senior production, this is like a farewell show that the high school seniors put on for the underclassmen, the year before we leave the school. And I wrote and directed a lot of that stuff. And it was a fun time. And then I said, I'm going to major in theater. But again, back to Miss Warrior, she said, no, you got to be more practical. Theater is not the thing. Basically implying you're from the projects now. Yeah. Who have you ever seen make it out of the projects onto the big screen? She said, so be more practical and choose something else. And so I chose dentistry only because my father, with whom I had no relationship, my entire life. I saw him a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. He would say 3 or 4 times since I talked to him as an adult in my 30s. But he told me one time when I was with him, he said, always take care of your teeth, son.
Mm.
And that stuck with me. And so his word stuck with me all those years. And I said, okay, I want to be a dentist, even though in the back of my mind, I wanted to be an actor. So I
Mm.
got to college and I stuck with that for about a year just to make my English teacher, Ms. Warrior, happy and feel good about it. But when I got to college, I was like, theater. I said, I'm going to minor in theater at Kentucky State. And but they didn't have a theater major. And so when I transferred to the University of Georgia, that's when I picked it up as a major.
Mm.
In a
See?
long journey with Willa Crossroads.
Absolutely. It's been one hell of a journey just learning about it, and it's continuing. You've got a lot on the way. You've accomplished a lot, but we're gonna get further deep into this. Did you get to see this teacher later in life now that you accomplished being on the big screen?
I did not. And I think that unfortunately we lost her a few years
Oh.
ago. I would have liked to have seen her to just talk about that because I know that she had my best interests at heart. So she thought, as opposed to encouraging me to go after that dream.
Mhm.
But she was like, I just don't want to set him up for failure.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Do you know if anyone else from your neighborhood made it out? Because I know it was tough for a lot of opportunities, but you're someone that really has given inspiration to people that you can make it out from where you came from. So do you know if anyone has made it out around you in your age bracket or even now up and coming in the younger generation?
Oh yes, my circle of friends was we were tight.
Hmm.
My best friend, even to this day, 45-year best friendship.
Wow.
And yeah, he is the regional manager. I'm so proud of him. He's the regional manager for Mavis
Hmm.
Tires. Shout out to Reno, Renoobski. And he started with them right out of college. He went to Georgia Southern and he started with them right out of college. And he's been with them for 30 years now. And he is a very proud father and husband. I get emotional talking about him. I have also, we were football teammates as well.
Okay.
So a few of my teammates, that we were close, I was close with, made it out, and they're doing well in life. My dance partners, I have a couple of pastors, 2 pastors in my circle, and a manager also, showbiz manager. So a handful of us.
Hmm.
But since then, Ben, Mad Max, I'm sorry, I don't. It's tough. They tore down the projects,
Okay.
so and
Is it
just kind of
gentrified now?
hmm?
Is it the gentrification now? Is that what
It's
they're
the
doing?
gentrification. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. And so people were just scattered throughout, but it's still rough and tough because it's a mindset that persists and not just the physical location, right?
Hmm. Yeah. They're doing that all over, especially New York. It's happening with gentrification. It's all over the place now.
Gentrification's been happening in New York some a long way
Yeah,
before it started happening in Atlanta.
exactly. It's been going,
Yeah.
especially you look at Brooklyn, it's two totally different places now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow. Good thing and a bad thing. It's you got your pros and cons.
I agree. Definitely pros and cons there. And when we get it more into the film work and things like that, it took you 10 years to get an agent. What wowed this agent eventually? Because you were doing theater work, things for free, things to put on your reel. You were really putting in the grind to make something happen. But what was it that eventually sold them for to sign you after 10 years?
My one man show.
The one man show.
Yes, formerly titled entitled IronE the Resurrected, but now it's called Blindsided by The Walking Dead. I was working on another show, plus another show. It's called 12 Angry Men. And yeah, there was actually a feature done on 12 Angry Men. So I was working on that, and one of my castmates recognized my talent, knew of my one man show, and he was working at a casting agency. Shout out to Alton Talent. And he went back to them and said, "Man, y'all need to check him out. He's good and he's making some things happen." And I was fresh off of Somebody's. I had done that with my my alumni brother, and so he'd heard of that, and that got a little recognition because it was on BET, so only 750,000 people watched it, but it that was the biggest something that I had done up to that time. And they contacted me and said they wanted to represent me. And I went in, and weeks later, I got the audition for The Blind Side. And then within a year, and I booked that, and within a year of that, I booked The Walking Dead. So it was like striking gold like twice within a year. It was crazy.
That is crazy. We could
Yeah.
really say too that you've been in two of the biggest sports movies of all time because you did some extra work in Remember the Titans.
Yeah. That is my top five. That's in my top five. It wouldn't surprise you though, Mad Max, that my top 10 movies are sports movies.
Rocky's your favorite, I've learned.
Oh, look at oh my God, I love it. Rock,
Oh, look at that. He's got the Rocky, oh, when Rocky win.
man, hey, the greatest ever. It ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Man, you just don't know. Balboa Creed, man, you
Classic.
just don't know. That movie helped to save my life.
Hmm.
So whenever I was down and out, I just thought about Rocky. I was like, Rocky didn't quit. I'm not gonna quit. Drop. Give me some push-ups. Let's go. Let's hit the streets. Let's run. I'm out in the projects, running through the projects at 2 o'clock in the morning with some bro gangs and some little booty shorts on, man. Max, jogging up to the school around the track with no lights in the neighborhood. And they're like, there's crazy Robert. So that's my birth name, Robert. And they saw me running through the hood. I'm trying to get ready to get out the hood. So, but that saved me. But Remember the Titans is in my top five. And then The Blind Side is number two for me. Rocky's
Hmm.
one, Blind Side two. Remember the Titans, Blind Side, because I was in the movie and it was such a beautiful, powerful message
Hmm.
about us, loving each other and showing empathy for each other and compassion for one another. And so that touched me to the core. And Remember the Titans for obvious reasons. If we don't come together as men, we will perish as fools.
Hmm.
Basically, something similar to what Abe Lincoln said back in 1860s, almost 150 years ago, right?
Yeah,
So, and then my third one is another football movie, Safety, which is in my top 10. That's a Disney movie that I did a
that's
few
right.
years ago. Yeah, with the great Reginald Hudlin. So shout out to Boaz Yakim and John Lee Hancock and Reginald Hudlin.
Shout out to them. BET. It's for sure. Getting to work with
BT,
him a few
yes,
times.
indeed. So And that's the thing. We came full circle. You work with Reginald Hudlin?
No, no, but I know he's
Oh,
with BET.
he's awesome. Now he had right after he greenlit Somebody's, he's the one that greenlit Somebody.
Okay.
And I saw, and I had never met him. I was a part of it, but I didn't meet him when we were shooting it. And I saw the stuff he said about me. He was like, "This guy right here, he's good." And I was like, "Oh snap, Reginald Hudlin said something about me." Fast forward 15 years, I'm working with him on safety. So it's a small world, and I just had to give him his flowers then because I was just so enamored just from being in his presence. And he is, in my book, a legend. Like Reginald
Mhm.
Hudlin, we're talking about all the way back to Boomerang and all. I mean, he's done so much, and I respect him immensely. Yeah.
Absolutely, definitely
Oh, yeah.
one of the top in the industry for sure. There's no question. How about when we get into this journey more, when we look at just the overall perspective of everything, because it's kind of like all these roles that you were getting were almost a reflection of what you were around in your life. When we look at Blindside, it was filmed like right in your neighborhood where you used to hang out when you were a kid, and then right when you get to The Walking Dead, it was close to your neighborhood as well. So it's crazy how everything was like right there in the spectrum of where you grew up.
I'm trying to figure out how you know all of these very minute and specific details. My goodness, that is incredible. But yes, The Walking Dead, The Blind Side was filmed across town from where I grew up in a housing project called Thomasville, and I would hang out there sometimes. I had some acquaintances in Thomasville, if you will, and The Walking Dead was filmed less than a mile from where I grew up. I was right at home. Thomasville reminded me of who I could have been,
Mhm.
that character that I played in The Blind Side, Alton. It was like, man, I was on that path. I could have done that and become Alton, but I
Mhm.
chose to go that route and become who I am today. And The Walking Dead, I talked to Andrea, aka Lori Holden, and I told her, that I grew up there, and I shared my story with her, and she was taken aback and wowed by it. I was like, just a few years ago, I was ducking and dodging bullets, literally, trying to survive, and now here I am trying to survive these walkers. It was just so very surreal, so very surreal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We mentioned Alton because is such a memorable character, especially with the Saturday night special that you tell Sandra Bullock's character.
Check this. I actually had a Saturday night special.
Oh,
That's another connection, tie in with my life right there. It's so crazy. And so my first, I don't have to say pew pew, right? Like we're on TikTok live or anything.
yeah,
Or
you can say whatever, however you want to explain it.
so yeah, my first gun was a 38 special. We
Okay.
called it a Saturday night special. And I bought it for $40 from my next door neighbor who ended up serving like 15 to 25 years or something for a murder. They said that gun had about 25 murders on it. And I was pulled over one time taking this girl back. We had just the night before we were at the hotel, and I took her back. I was taking her home, and I got pulled over on the interstate, and the officer came and inquired about what I had in my vehicle and all that stuff, and I had it in the glove compartment. And if he had checked that glove compartment, I wouldn't be talking to you right now, probably.
That's insane. Just how everything works, especially with it went into the film as just kind of a reminder of what could have been. And thank God that it didn't.
Exactly. I
Mhm.
use that as motivation. I use my background whenever I'm preparing for something, whenever I'm about to perform on stage or in front of the camera. I think about my background. I think first and foremost about my mother, whom I lost, like you mentioned that,
Mhm.
and that gives me so much motivation. I say I can't stop now. I got to keep going. I got to do something for her memory. I got to make her life have meaning also because she didn't come here to be a crack addict or an alcoholic. So she had me. Her
Mhm.
greatest accomplishment. I'm going to make sure that the world knows who my mother is. Her name is Catherine Singleton. I called the kid. So yeah, it does. Your
Mm.
background. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that film is just one of the greatest of all time, and it blew up as soon as it first weekend. It rivaled Twilight, and well, so I'm not a big Twilight guy. I like The Blind Side, so not big into the chick flicks.
Okay, so you went to the Blind Side.
Yeah.
Okay, it was. We were like, wait a minute. It was the little engine that could,
Hmm.
because the first weekend it made 34 million, and then after that, I think it made 34 million. And then
Hmm.
after that, it just kept climbing and it kept going. And we're like, what is this? What is happening? Yeah, God is good.
He definitely is, and your fight with Quentin Aaron in the apartment, that was when you're in the couch, you tap that saying that. Those
You can be blessed right now. I'll see Q this weekend. I'll see Brother Quinn this weekend at Atlanta Comic Con. So if you're in
oh,
Atlanta, come on out. Yes, yes. So we may end up doing a panel together talking about that scene.
that's fire. Yeah, that scene
Yeah.
was one of the most memorable in the movie. And Sandra Bullock just, how was it that scene? Because was there some laughter after that scene with the Saturday Night Spec? Because you cannot help but laugh at that scene. Because then she was like, and it works every other day too.
Yeah, not as much laughter as it was, because I mean she's intense. So
Hmm.
she was focused on what she was doing. And it was more so bonding, because she came to me and shouted me out, praised me for the work that she saw me doing. I did quite a bit of improv, relatively speaking. And like even when I said, oh, I said, hey, D, watch this here. They always go for the wink. Watch this. Bam. Yeah, snowflake. Like, that's improv.
Hmm.
Like, I was making some of this stuff up and she didn't expect that. And she was in the village watching the stuff. And she was like, oh my goodness. And she came to me and touched me on the shoulder. And I turned around and she was like, you did a fantastic job. You're wonderful. Can't wait to work with you in Hollywood. And so that was validation for me.
Absolutely,
It
for
was an
sure.
incredible moment. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, gifted. I'm telling you, with the improv, definitely. And it translates to you get into the role of T-Dog in The Walking Dead.
I talked to my wife about it last night, I think. And I said that where I was talking about improv, because I was improving something and I forgot. But I said, I think that started at Subway when I worked at Subway in ninth grade. And I would talk to the customers, and it would be like unlike any experience you've had in Subway, though, Mad Max. People would come in and I would just joke and play games with them. And I talk that talk. But then I said, well, no, it started before that, because in the hood, where I grew up in a household with gangsters, pimps, hustlers, and you had to have game. It's basically spitting game. And
Hmm.
so I said, I think my improv experience started there, not in college. In theater, people probably think doing theater when you were majoring in theater. And I'm like, no, when I was in the hood and I'm listening, I'm the youngest in my household of all the guys, and I'm listening to all my family members talk that talk. And so I grew up talking that same talk, and that's where my improv experience started.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that things were working out along the way, all the way. And you mentioned it in the subway because you worked a lot of jobs, mortgages and things like that. But you went out to LA first, and then you came back to Atlanta. So what was the reason that you came back to Atlanta? Because everyone tries to make it out in LA.
God told me that whatever I was supposed to do, it was going to happen in Atlanta. And of course, back then, 2000, it's like you got to go out to LA to make your dreams come true. If you have aspirations of being an actor. And so I went out there. I changed my name to IronE
Hmm.
before I went out there, because I wanted to serve as an icebreaker. And I said, okay, God brought me through all of this madness so that I can share my story, my testimony. My test has now become my testimony. So when I go out there, I need a name that is going to make the casting directors, the producers and directors ask, so IronE, tell me more. And then I share my story with them and explain to them how irony means that which is not expected. And so I wasn't expected to be here. The pundits, the statisticians, the statistics said I'd be dead by between the ages of 18 and 21. And so I'm out here, and I thought that would serve as a great icebreaker.
Hmm.
But only I ended up going out there working at two restaurants, Max, and a Creole restaurant and a traditional American restaurant. And so, and then I got the message that God, because I put out about 100 headshots. And CAA, I sent out to 100 agencies, and CAA, one of the biggest in the world, is the only one that responded to me. The only one. They said they couldn't represent me because I was not a part of the union at that time. So and then I got the message: go back to Atlanta. That's where you're supposed to do it. Your family's back in Atlanta. I know your wife is giving you her consent for you to come out, but go back to Atlanta. That's where it's supposed to happen. That's when I headed back to A.
And it did. And you get the role of T-Dog after the Blind Side. Everyone remembers that role. How was the audition process for Walking Dead?
It was quick because I think that it came on the heels of The Blind Side, and I just put myself on tape. And then the next day, I think my agent hit me up. Shout out to Chase, who's a casting director right now, but he and an alumni of mine with UGA Go Dogs. He hit me back and said, Frank Darabont wants you to do it this way. And then I did it that way. I just tweaked a little something, and then he was like, "All right, you got the part." Because The Blind Side was hot, and the world basically had seen me opposite Sandra Bullock at the Oscars because that was the clip they used for her campaign to win the Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess a billion probably people had seen me. And so now I'm getting followed on Twitter by these, I'm like mad producers, big time executive. I'm like, such and such follow me. Oh my God, the billionaire such and such follow. I'm like, wow, it's crazy. So it was because of The Blind Side, I feel, that I got The Walking Dead.
I'm not surprised because you nailed the role as Alton. Then you did T-Dog, and T-Dog, we already know the roof scene, dropping the key with with Merle. That's classic. I thought you were finished when you got that cut on the highway scene. I thought that was when I first watched it. I was like, oh, he's gonna get it right here, and he lives on into season 3.
Frank, Frank Darabont is so brilliant. He loves to throw those curveballs, and he wanted people to think that I was done there. I thought I would be done during season 1. I was told that I would do 2 to 3 episodes, but I ended up going into season 3. Season 2, cut my arm. I'm looking. He hadn't told me anything at that time. I think it was right after that episode. He was like, "Listen, I know you were supposed to be gone during season 1." He said, "But man, you're doing such a great job. I don't even know how to kill you off." He's like, "I don't know how." Like he said, "Man, just keep doing what you're doing." I said, "I appreciate that, Frank." So yeah, I bought myself some extra time.
Yeah. Oh, you did. How was the barn scene, especially working with John Bernthal, because we'd seen him go on to be the Punisher and all the roles that he's done. But how was it working with him, especially with that barn scene
Oh, I was gonna
when Andrew Lincoln shoots the girl?
right. Bernthal, that's my guy. He reminds me of my best friend from high school. That I think I mentioned him earlier, Reno, right?
Hmm.
He reminds me of him. He has a similar personality. It's great to work with Bernthal. Bernthal and I probably talk the most on the set and maybe bonded the most, but I bonded with all of my castmates, adult castmates, in a different way. And Scott Wilson was one too, but all of my castmates, really, we had some good times together. But Bernthal was the one that took me back home, in a sense,
Mm.
reminded me of home because of his sense of humor. So I love Bernthal. He's wonderful. Check out The Accountant too. He's hilarious and intense in it. So that's my guy. That's my guy.
Hmm. Yeah, that scene was intense. What would you say was your top scene as T-Dog?
My top scene is T Dog. Man, the one I was shooting, I think the one that started it was that rooftop
The
scene.
rooftop scene.
That got it started.
Hmm.
But then again, I love that the roadway when Dale and T Dog were on the roadway right there at the RV. And I was like, man, let's get the heck out of here. Let's head to the coast.
Hmm.
I thought that I was looking forward to doing that with Jeffrey DeMond, whom I respect greatly, and he was such a great talent, just like Rooker. Um, just so many people ask me what was my favorite scene, and I'm like, just the one I was shooting because I don't think it would qualify as being one of the greatest shows because that's how people refer to it. If I could just pick one,
Mm.
I really can't, and I just loved every moment of working on that show. I never had a bad day on set. It was just awesome.
I could tell. Did you have a new appreciation for horror? I learned that you weren't that big into horror growing up, but did you have a new appreciation for it?
I did. I could appreciate how even through horror we can share art.
Hmm.
We could share our art. But then I think that it solidified it, it corroborated that notion for me, because even when my mother would take me and my brother as a 4 or 5 year old to the movie theater to watch Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, the pure one always survived, in a sense, like the girl that had never been with anybody and all the, so she was, she was not out there and promiscuous. She was always one that survived. So that was a message. That was one of the messages they had and explored a lot in horror then. But then with The Walking Dead, it begged the question of how would you respond under duress, under stressful situation. I felt like entertainment, arts, movies, that's another great synonym or metaphor for life. Like sports,
Hmm.
entertainment is right up there with it, right? Movies. And so I just thought that The Walking Dead was like life on crack to the 10th power with zombies in it. It was just an exaggerated, really hyperbolic form of life, with zombies in it, and it made people question themselves. How would I respond? Would I respond like Shane? Would I go to the dark side? Would I
Hmm.
respond like Rick? So with The Walking Dead, it told me that you can still have a message. You can still be the consummate artist,
Hmm.
meaning impacting the world positively through horror, because that's what The Walking Dead was about, is about. How would we respond under duress? It makes us, I think it makes you question your character. Like, do I want to be like Shane? Or do I want to be like the governor? I don't want to be like that. What do I need to do in my life to kind of make that spiritual transformation so that I won't end up being like them? And oh, you froze again. Oh, okay. I thought you froze.
Yeah, no, no, I'm
I
here.
thought you froze again. So that I don't make the decisions that they made. We're all human beings, but at the end of the day, it's about our decisions. So, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Horror is a great vehicle also to create change.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And especially, I don't know if you have you seen the original Night of the Living Dead? Because I was going to tie in that you wanted to get into civil rights, and you also do activist work. You have Dr. Martin Luther King behind you as well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the original one was how you were kind of able to, the '60s one with George A. Romero was how to survive, and how you kind of saw that the tension between the bleed of Dwayne Jones and the racist white character. And I don't, have
yeah,
you seen the original Night of the Living Dead?
yeah. My
Yeah.
uncle. Shout out to my uncle Larry. He had 10 billion video cassettes, all like 10 billion movies. Man, he had a bunch of movies. I don't know where he got all these movies, but Night of the Living Dead was one of them. Shout out to Tony Todd. Um,
Oh, that's the '90s one. Yeah.
oh, yeah, he did the '90s one. He did the '90s one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I saw. Oh yeah, I saw the other one too. Who was Dwayne? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dwayne
Okay, I saw that
Jones,
one too. So I saw all of them. I watched. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The one from the '60s,
the
is it?
black and white one.
With
Yeah.
Mello, right? And then Tom Savini did Tony
The
Todd,
'90s
right?
one. Hmm.
The '90s one. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, all of them. I checked it out, and good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and it just goes to show you that how they can incorporate civil rights into that, and we could even get into just now. What are some what's some work that you're, because you wanted to go back into college and do civil rights and entertainment law and things like that. So, what are
Yeah,
some of the ways that you apply civil rights with your work outside off the screen?
I say I say my philosophy is, well, the best form of activism is truth and love for me.
Hmm.
So we can all be activists no matter where we are. How do we treat people? Because people like to focus on the bigger picture. And I'm like, but what does the bigger picture mean? It's cool, but in your everyday life and when you're out and about with people, you're honking at people because you feel like they cut you off in traffic and you're giving them the finger and you're doing all this. I'm like, okay, that runs contradictory to what you're doing in society as far as your activism is concerned. So the most powerful form of activism is truth and love. How do we treat one another? And then that spreads. It becomes contagious. If we give one person love, that one person goes out and gives a couple of people love, and then they go out, each go out and give a couple of people, and it spreads like a forest fire, right? 4 to 8 and 16. Before you know it, our world is much better than we found it. So no matter what anybody is doing, they can say, I don't have that type of clout. I don't have a platform. I can't go out. But you can love your fellow neighbor. You can love your brother. You can love your sister,
Mhm.
right? We can all do that. So, in addition to just walking the walk every day, everybody since my mother died in 93, May 9th, 93, it started me on a journey of transformation. I've said that in the 21st century, Brother Max, I have not had an argument with anybody
Wow.
since the 21st century. I had to work out all my mess and all my hood stuff. I had to get all that out of my system. And I said, if I'm going to make my mother's life mean something, I have to live with intention.
Hmm.
I gotta mean it. And I have not had an argument with anybody since then. Because if that's the case, then I'd rather die. It's like it's time for me to check out because my purpose is in vain. I'm living in vain right now.
Hmm.
So that's where the journey began. And now I said, okay, Fandom Futures is another vehicle that we're using to create positive change. I'm not, I've never been one on the front line with picket signs or anything like that. That's never been me, but we can all still make a contribution just through truth and love.
Hmm.
But Fandom Futures, I want to encourage people to follow Fandom Futures because we've got great stuff coming in the form of, activism and young people connected with industry insiders and celebrities so they can serve as mentors for them. And that's how we create a better world. Also, my book, Blindsided of the Walking Dead, there is activism throughout it. And
Hmm.
so if you read my book, you read my story, you watch my one-man show, it's free. That's activism. It's You can watch the show at bbtwdtheplay.com. So everything I do is in alignment with activism, Brother Max.
Hmm.
That's just I have
That's what it
no other
is.
way, you know.
Yeah, no, and we need more, especially during these times. I know they're definitely tough with everything going on in society right now, and I don't know when things are going to get better. But all we can do is just be true to ourselves, and like you said, try to avoid arguments with people and to communicate.
Communicate that. And I had in my movie, even back in 2006, right after Somebody's, Haji inspired me to write my movie. I was like, man, I'm about to write a movie. I said, Haji, because at UGA, I was the president of the Black Theatrical Ensemble, and he came to me to produce his stage play, Commitment Dilemma, which was very similar to Somebody's. So we ended up doing that, and then we ended up going to Sundance. We ended up going to the Sundance Awards because of the movie. I said, I can do that too. Let me write a movie and produce it and star in it and all that stuff. And the movie is about communicating to solve problems. What we tend to do is scream and yell at each other, and that's not communication.
Mhm.
So people can watch that. It's called White Man, Black Man, Jew Man.
Jew man,
Yeah,
white man,
man.
black man, Jew man.
So my activism has been from day one. When my mom died and I came through all of my mess, I had to get out all that dirt out my system. That's just been the path I've been on for the last decades, 2 decades plus.
Mhm. No, and you're proven it to be, like you said, her greatest gift, and just carrying on the name for sure, just through your work and on screen and off the screen and things like that. And just to close out the knot with The Walking Dead and to get into the other film work, your character, you were a hero, and Carol went on to be probably the one of the biggest of the show. It's still going. She's still going. Your character proved to be a sacrifice for the long haul.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing to see. I said I'd rather, sacrifice 100 souls to save a million.
Hmm.
That's another one of my philosophies. And so I sacrifice his soul to save a million because Carol's going on. But that's the thing about this life, right? We can go and we can give this one person truth and love, like I speak, at different places and talk to the kids. I can sow a seed into this young person, this young girl or this young boy that can end up being the president of the US or something major, and she or he may end up saving so many people. So our contribution is so necessary, even as just one individual. A lot of people think that they, as an individual, they don't count. And I'm like, no, you count. Do you understand? You are here for a reason. You are here for a reason. God didn't create you to come here to not count. That's why my intention is like my mother's life counts.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna make it count through me.
Yeah.
Because society said she was she's an addict, she was an alcoholic. She didn't contribute anything to society. Yes, she did.
Hmm.
So I want people to understand that you as an individual are an individual for a reason because what you have to offer the world is unique and it's supposed to be off. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. We wouldn't
No.
be. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. The lottery ticket. This is another one with Ice Cube and Bow Wow, and you also do your own hip hop work and lyrics and things like that. I've seen you, especially collaborate with your own rock band.
Oh, man, that was yeah. Yeah, I was thinking back to when I performed and I actually crashed and burned in Canada on national television, and I was performing with my band. That's why I went. I went, and I'm thinking about that. I don't lose sleep over it. I would have if it happened at the beginning of my career. I had thoughts of quitting early on because if I felt I had a bad performance, I tell my girlfriend, now my wife, I say, if I have a performance like that again, I'm just going to quit acting. I was that sensitive about it. But then now being, 3 decades into this thing, I don't think anything about it now. So, but that performance was on national television in Canada. And you just have to see it. You have to see it to believe it. But I was like, okay, that's not happening again. It's not gonna.
Mm.
I didn't have my background track, and so I had to do my own vocals, my own hook,
Hmm.
and I had no wind, but I had to fight through it anyways. You could tell I probably got a 6 pack just doing that performance. Uh, but yeah, my album is called Hypocrisy, and I
Hmm.
have some hit tracks on there. We Are the Walking Dead. I have The Blind Side,
Hmm.
and it is another creation that is meant to impact the world positively. It's called Hip. The album is called again Hypocrisy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it goes together.
Yeah, yeah.
Who
Oh
is
yeah.
IronE's top five hip hop artists of all time? Who's in your top five?
3,000,
Hmm.
Andre
Atlanta.
3,000. Yeah, who my girlfriend, she was my girlfriend then, dated for like 2 weeks, and then I decided to come back in the picture. I know she's like, "Dang, why'd you come back into the picture?" But they dated for like 2 weeks. Andre 3,000, he's from the SWAT, so he's from Southwest Atlanta, and I've got my number two, and I don't have a two specific order, but Andre 3,000 is my one, and then I would have to go with Tupac for sure,
Hmm.
just because of what he represented.
Yeah.
I got to go with KRS-One.
Hmm.
I got to go with, you know, whew, I can't not put Eminem in my top five just because he's a lyricist. But as far as his activism and his artistry, like he's an artist. Like the stuff he says, the way he laces them, incredible. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna have to throw him in my five right now. That list could change like that last two, I think. I like and Buster, I like Buster a
Busta
lot.
Rhymes. Yeah, he's top. He's top. He's up there.
Yeah, I like Buster. But I don't have a solid five. I have a solid two, 3,000 and Tupac.
Mm. Yeah,
That's my
makes
solid.
sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised Nas isn't in there. Nas, I'm trying to think of who
Nas
else.
is in there.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, I was thinking Nas. And who else did you say?
I was thinking who else that you would put. Biggie's not in there. I'm surprised.
No, no, no. Biggie's not in there. He's a lyricist, but for me,
It's
just
more activism type of, uh, yeah, someone that really sparks a movement within the music.
there you go. There
Hmm.
you go. And so that's my thing. And I never considered Biggie to be that
Hmm.
type. He's just not the activist type. Great, great lyricist,
Hmm.
but just not on that, not in that area. Not in that
Hmm.
area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree. Yeah, Tupac, Andre 3000, that completely makes sense.
So, yeah, yeah, man. And yeah, 3000. He said a lot with his music. He said a
Hmm.
lot with his music, you know. Just talking about just watching his transformation and how he once he knew better, he started to do better.
Hmm.
And I really appreciated that about him. And how he has many messages in his music. They may be they're much more subtle than Tupac's,
Hmm.
but they are there.
They
They
are.
are there.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You really got to sit there and sink it in. I think there's one track, the 13th Floor Growing Old off of AT Aliens. That's a deep
yeah.
song.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. But all of it though. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Southern Playalistic.
Oh, the
I mean,
debut.
that was them. Like I can relate to all of that being from the South. I can
Hmm.
relate to everything you're saying, but that was the beginning of it all too. And then you just saw this growth just happening. Every album from, Southern Playalistic to AT Aliens to Aquemini to Stankonia, you just recognize the growth, just constant growth.
Hmm.
And I could just appreciate that. And then the love he gives to women shows to women in, the double album prototype and the
Speaker
double
Box.
album deal. What's that?
I think it's Speaker Box, right?
Speaker box. That's speaker box. The love below. His is the
Hmm.
love below, and Big Boy's speaker box. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful.
it's yeah one of the top albums of all time. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
Did,
yeah.
did you get to
Woo.
did you get to talk with Ice Cube behind the scenes? Because he's someone that was also back in the day with NWA. He was really pushing a movement there. That was monumental.
It was monumental. There were opposing forces happening,
Hmm.
and they spoke out against, you know, police brutality and so many other things, while at the same time, it was so ironic, while at the same time promoting violence and gangsterism.
Hmm.
It's an interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
I I did not talk to him on the set of Lottery Ticket, but when I was working at the it was then called Phillips Arena for the
Hmm.
Atlanta Hawks. It's called State Farm now. I met him at the All-Star game, All-Star weekend, because we were performing on the court and I was right in front of Beyonce and Jay-Z, and we were doing the YMCA, talking about the Y, and I was all in front of them. I was like, I'm about to get discovered right now, baby. Yeah. But this is like 2004 or something, 2005, and I saw Ice Cube in the tunnel, and we had a conversation. I was like, "Man, I'm up and coming. I'm an actor. Blah blah blah." And I gave him my card, and that was that. That's the only time I talked to Ice Cube. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, that song is cringy now. I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but we've seen.
Oh, the YMCA.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Still play it. People still play it.
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, people do that."
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, it's crazy. So, I mean, with your other work here, because how was it working with Neve Campbell? Scream, everyone knows her for that.
Yeah, she's great. She's just kind, thoughtful, considerate, giving. We had a month. We shot this in Toronto.
Hmm.
She had just had a child, so there wasn't much time she had, you know, after after work or whatever. So we never went out or anything like that. But she's fun to work with.
Hmm. Nicolas
Yeah,
Cage, another one. Yeah, you've been able to be with some of the idols, and then you
yeah,
become, and then you're an idol. See, I mean, look at the roles that you've done. T-Dog, everyone loves these roles.
Man, it's surreal. It's surreal. I say, Max, I'm like, a lot of actors are in this game for 30, 40 years, and they never get one opportunity. Like they never get one opportunity at a breakthrough, let alone a breakout, right? And then so they certainly don't get the opportunity to be in an Oscar nominated movie, a Golden Globe nominated television show, and then to have worked with all of these A-list actors in a lifetime is crazy.
It,
Yeah, it's a blessing, and I'm
the
just
hard
forever
work,
grateful.
it's paid off. The hard work has definitely paid off for everything that you've done. So what's something that you've learned with throughout film? It even could be from the times of the Bounty Project or in college with theater that you were able to, because they always say people study Meisner techniques and things like that. So what is the IronE Singleton technique that you learned that you were able to put your own spin on when you teach acting?
The technique is truth and love.
Truth and
It's truth
love.
and love, brother. Yes, sir. I teach Strasberg, Meisner, and Adler, Stella Adler. So I merge the three worlds together, and then over time, having been in the industry for so long, you do come up with your own philosophy. And I said basically what they all were talking about was truth and love. How and an expression I use is, truth without love is aimless or ineffective at best. And love without truth is false. So I said that we have to love the characters that we play. And we love them by being as truthful as we possibly can to them. Otherwise, the characters will ring as inauthentic. We got to tell the whole story.
Mhm.
We can't sugarcoat it. Who is this person to the core? And I want to reflect the love is reflecting on their humanity. Why are they special? Why are they necessary? Because they're an individual, right? That's the love aspect of it. Tell their whole story. It's like my one man show. I tell the whole story. It's truth and love. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't say, I didn't live, I lived a certain life. I did bad things in my life. But at the same time, I've done good as well. But that's the human experience. God brought us here, gave us free will. We have we have the choice to do good. We have the choice to do bad. We got that angel on one side and that devil on the other side. And every day it's a battle. We have to fight through it. For me, coming up in the projects, Max, it was easier for me to do bad stuff because I was inundated with it. I was surrounded by it. And so the more bad stuff I did, the easier it was to do more. And
Mhm.
then when my mom died, it made me so determined to bring meaning to her life. I said, I gotta make a conscious effort. I have to live with just great intention. And I said, whenever I think about doing this bad stuff, I gotta fight it. It was so tough. I had to fight doing because it was like it was calling me, man. Like Pookie said in New Jack
New
City,
Jack City.
man, it was calling me. And I was like, I can't do it. My mom means more to me. Her legacy means more to me than this devil on my side telling me to do it. Like, and
Mhm.
so I fought it. And every day it's like I had to I had to accomplish something. Every day it's like you got to crawl before you can walk. And then so I made an accomplishment every day, and I grew and it got bigger, got better, and then eventually I didn't. It didn't bother me. It didn't affect me. Saying, do you know that temptation was coming to me in my dream, in my nightmares? I had
Wow.
nightmares about doing bad. It was like the demons, it was that bad. The nightmares, I would have nightmares about, being disloyal or doing bad, committing adulterous acts or whatever. And I had to fight that stuff. And I was like, oh my God, now wake up. Like, oh. But the more I did good, the easier it became for me to do good.
Mm.
But it was very tough at the beginning. And then it got better. It was almost like, practicing a certain thing, right? You're practicing basketball and you first start, you're a little clumsy, you miss some layups, you this and that. And then it becomes second nature once you've done it for so long. I had done dirt for so long, it was second nature. And then I had to go in reverse. I had to reverse that thing, and then became second nature to want to just put truth and love in the world. So this is my character. This is who I become. I'm grateful. I have moments where I cry. I break down and cry because I'm like, how on earth? And I know the answer to how. That's a rhetorical question, but it's God. But I came from this to this, where I am today, and I'm like, it's amazing. God is just incredible. But we
He
have to
is.
listen and obey. And I chose to listen and obey at key moments where it's unfortunate that a lot of my peers didn't, and they ended up 6 feet deep or in prison. But I'm
Mhm.
so thankful.
Yeah. You've put in a lot of hard work and sacrifice and you're carrying on the legacy of everything. Let's get in this upcoming material, IronE. What do you have on the way? I know you're always working. I know you got a lot.
Yeah, I Fandom Futures. I think I mentioned that earlier. I
Hmm.
apologize first,
Oh
foremost.
no, it's okay. It happens.
I realize this is an incense too, burning
Oh,
everybody.
okay.
I know I want people thinking like, oh, he's 5-1 up, huh? Get it? But it's incense. So yeah, I mentioned Fandom Futures earlier. So go and follow, please, everybody. Go and follow Fandom at Fandom Futures on Instagram, on TikTok, and I think perhaps on LinkedIn and Facebook at Fandom Futures. My book, Blind Side of the Walking Dead, I always encourage people to just get this book. If anybody has ever had struggles in life, if they're dealing with things or they know of people, and that means that's all of humanity, unless you're a baby or something like that. Get my book, Blind Side of the Walking Dead. And or if you just want to watch the abridged version, if you want to watch the abridged version of what's in this book, then go to bbtwdtheplay.com, and that's free. So you can watch that for free, or you can book me in a city near you, and I'll bring my one man show there to you. I have a movie called Signing Day that I did with Marshawn Lynch. He's in it, and he's not at the top of the list. He's not number one on the call sheet, but this is a sports radio and sports station interview, so I wanted to mention him. Beast Mode's in it. It's called Signing Day. Got
Signing
Mira
day.
Sorvino, Rob Morgan, yeah, some other cool names in there as well. And I play a shady mechanic, and that's a good one. That's another football movie we mentioned, right? I
Yeah.
keep getting like these football roles, and I did that with my alumni friend peer Champ Bailey.
Ooh.
So yeah, so he produced it. And I have one called That's Her
Hmm.
with Country Wayne. I think y'all know Country Wayne as the social media sensation, I guess, right? Or
Hmm.
YouTube sensation. And Loretta Devine and Coco Jones is in it. I wanted to make sure I got the names right. I know the comedian Coco Brown. I was like, okay, Coco Jones, who just got married to Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I
Congrats
saw
to
that.
they got engaged, right?
Yeah, that's right. I saw it yesterday. Yep.
Did okay. So congratulations to the two of them on their engagement. And I've got who else is in there? Pat Brown, comedian Pat Brown is in it. That's called That's Her.
Hmm.
And then I've got one called Classics Undone that I did in affiliation with my college alma mater, UGA. And so I don't know when that's coming up, but the others I just mentioned hopefully will come out this year. And then one I just finished a few weeks ago is called, I can't say what it's called,
Hmm.
but I'm in it with a few big names. Some people have been nominated. We've had some Oscar nominations in that group. That's a good one. That's probably the most meaningful one to me because again, my thing is truth and love, and how do we want to impact the world? And I think that this movie will probably uh, more positively impact the world than more so than the others, although they're good projects. But this one is very deep and profound, the meaning behind it, and it focuses on the judicial penal system and capital punishment.
Mm.
So it's pretty deep. And I play a prison guard.
Wow. I'm
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
forward to that.
yeah. It's a good one.
It
And,
is.
what's that?
It is.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's so powerful. I found myself just shedding tears because during a scene where the main character, he was talking about his life and how his life just, you know, went left. It was I reflect because I'm like, that could have been me on that side, and he could have been on the other side. I always think about that, and I'm like, I could have easily been like, a lot of my peers, ones I grew up with, and so that brought about a lot of empathy for me. I think empathy is the goal. People ask, what can I do to be a better actor if they have ambitions of being an actor? I said, well, study thyself. You study thyself, then that brings about a lot of empathy you have for other people because you know what bothers you, what your triggers are, what affects you, and and what makes you angry, and then that makes you feel for other people. You're like, well, they experience the same thing. We start to study thyself, then I think that creates empathy for our brothers and sisters around us and everybody else in humanity. I have Insight Deals, which is go to Insight Deals. They sponsor my TikTok lives and go there for all your shopping needs. I got there like for merchandise and stuff like that. Petty shameful plug there on that end. And I'll be in Atlanta at Atlanta Comic Con this weekend. So if you're in the A, come by and see me and at the World Congress Center. And then I've got some other events coming up, like September, another convention. I'll be in Nashville. I'll be in Germany. I'll be in almost in New York for a minute there. But hopefully I'll be in New Jersey at what's it called? Monster Mania. So
Okay.
I'll be there. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So that sums it up, brother. Lot.
Yeah, see, you got all the new material in there. I appreciate everything that you do on and off the screen, Irony. I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really had a great time speaking with you about everything that you've done. It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure has been all mine. I thank you. I appreciate you and your attention to details. I mean, it's incredible. And the way you do your homework, like you do some serious work, and so that's just a testament to who you are, your character, and your ambition, your diligence. Just so that's remarkable. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. I love you, brother. I love your fans, your listeners. I encourage everybody to love yourselves and love each other and continue to put truth and love in the world because what we put out there will come back tenfold. All right. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
thank you to your manager, your wife, for getting this set up and everything getting coordinated too. She's definitely on top of it.
Well, she's incredible. She would have been I would have mentioned her first and in the middle and last had she not given me a hard time about praising her so much. But she's always my number one at the top of my list, always and forever. But she just doesn't like the praise. She works behind the scenes and she's just incredible. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to get in trouble.
Let them know where they can follow you on Instagram, X, so they could follow you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can find me on IronE Singleton, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and also IronESingleton.com, IronE Productions with an S.com, and again, BBTWDtheplay.com. I encourage everybody to watch that because given the climate today and what we're dealing with, it addresses a lot of the issues that we're dealing with today. And I wrote this play 20 years ago.
Mm.
So, but if you want to get some answers on things and how we can steady the ship and become better as a society and as a humanity, as a world, then I think BBTWDtheplay.com would give a lot of insight as to how we could go about doing that.
It
Yeah.
will. Make sure you go check that out. Hey, go Hawks. The Hawks.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, they're going up. They got some big move. You got Porzingis,
We got Porzingis. We got man. We
Luke
got
Kennard.
we got my man out of UGA. What's his
Hmm.
name? We just got him. He's nice. Came out of UGA. We got who else? We got though. We got some people.
Yeah, Luke Kennard.
We just got Bernard from Memphis. We got a squad this year.
Hmm.
Woo, we got a squad. We may end up making some noise, but who's our big? We got rid of Capella,
Hmm.
and so we got Porzingis. We got Porzingis there. We got some firepower this year.
You
I'm
do.
really excited.
It's going to be interesting. I'm telling you, especially if you face the Knicks.
Yeah, y'all already got your firepower, and I have no clue. I'm trying to figure out that coaching move. What
Yeah, Mike
Thibodeau?
Brown.
Yeah, but I'm like, but Thibodeau got y'all all the way
I
to the
yeah, I don't
finals.
understand that. I don't.
That was odd. That
It
was strange.
was.
You have no idea.
No, I think it's because he didn't play the bench, and I think it's the way that they lost that first game against the Pacers. I think there was some. I think them losing that series the way they did was that's what got him out of there too.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
But but yeah, but my man, he did that on everybody. What's his name? Halliburton? He
yeah, he
did
did
that
it
to
to
like
everyone. Cleveland, Milwaukee.
every team along the way. He dropping those buzzer beaters on everybody.
Yeah,
It's Halliburton, man. He's a playmaker.
he is. He really is, and it's going to be interesting. And go, I guess, go Braves and go Falcons as well.
Yes, indeed, man. I'm always my Braves, my Falcons, Atlanta United, all my Atlanta teams for sure. And same to you. I know it's not Knicks and Brooklyn though. Can't be Knicks and
No,
Brooklyn.
I'm not a Brooklyn Nets fan. No, no. Knicks. I do like the Mets, and then football. It's still, I'm not big into football as I used to be, but I grew up a Jets fan. I really have tapped out over the years because I'm just tired of them. So it might be,
Okay,
yeah. I don't know. I kind of adopted the Ravens, but I do like the Rams. So I don't know. It's
okay. Well, maybe if your guy buys, then what's his name? Who wrote the book Crush It? And,
oh, Steve Cohen, the one that bought the Mets.
not him, the one who's trying to buy. He said he's going to buy the Jets. Big time social media guy.
Oh,
And
I know Gary V.
Gary V. If
Yeah.
he buys the Jets, you might become a get back into him a little bit, right? Because I think he'll probably pump a lot of energy into him,
He
right?
will. Yeah, Woody Johnson, he needs to go for many reasons.
So yeah, so hopefully he'll buy the team one day. Who knows?
Who knows,
Yeah.
man? Who knows? But IronE, it's been a pleasure speaking with you again. And you're always welcome on the show anytime that you have press, anything.
Thank you. Much love, brother. I appreciate it. I wish you all the best.
You too,
Keep doing
IronE.
it.
Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm looking forward to the upcoming work.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Happy Sunday. All
Happy
right.
Sunday,
Peace.
man. Blessings.
Peace.